بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد
اللهم صل على محمد
وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأرضين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن عظمتك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. At the end of the discussion about ethical relativism, we need to make 2 points. One is that ethical relativism is different from saying that moral judgment can change if the conditions change. This is not ethical relativism. For example, you as a father may have a responsibility that you as a son or as a brother may not have. Your moral position can be different. When you are, for example, married or not married, when, for example, you have financial means or you don't have, how much you have to do charity. So, this is not ethical relativism. Ethical relativism is that for the same people, in the same condition, there can be different moral expectations. Just because, for example, time has passed, condition has not changed. You know, for example, we say 100 years ago slavery was bad, now slavery is good. What has happened? Just the time has passed. If slavery is bad, even 100 years ago was bad. We cannot say it was okay. Because here, as you see, passage of time does not change any factor. Or we say, people who live on this side of the river, they have this moral responsibility, people on the other side. So geography also is not morally relevant. So anything which is not morally relevant, if that makes ruling different, this is relativism. But something that morally is relevant, morally bears on the moral position, that is not relativism. Like, as I said, being father or being a son or being a brother or being a stranger. You cannot say it's the same person, why it has different positions. It's not really the same person. You look at the person as such, you say it's the same person. But what was the subject of moral rule was this person plus being son. So the subject was a combination, not just this physical object. This person as son has responsibility. Or for example, if I work in an office, maybe I need to observe things that for those who don't work in that office, they don't apply. This is not relativism. As an employee, I have some responsibility that people who are not employed, they don't have those. This is not relativism. Okay? So, this is one point that I wanted to make clear. The second point is about, which is very related, is about those moral actions or moral titles that may sometimes be right, sometimes may be wrong. They are not also necessarily relative. For example, telling truth. Telling truth is not all the time good. There can be cases that telling truth is bad. Like some people want to find an innocent person and kill him. Or some people want to attack a city and ask you for some information. If you tell the truth, you endanger life of innocent people. So some people say, oh, this is relativism. Telling truth is sometimes right, telling truth is sometimes wrong. We say no. Telling truth indeed by itself is not the subject. If you completely mention the subject, it never changes. Telling truth that endangers life of innocent people, or telling truth that causes a big fitna or big mischief, it's always bad. Whether you say it or I say it or someone else, whether today or tomorrow, if you add all those details, it's always bad. But telling truth, which is good for me and good for society, is always good. Or you can say it in this way, as we discussed this in Usul. I prefer this way. We can say, because in the book says telling truth with, for example, these details is bad, telling truth with these details is good. Telling truth that is useful for personal development and for social, for example, development is good. Telling truth which is endangering others is bad. My understanding is this. I say telling truth as such is good. Means if there is nothing added. But telling truth might be coming with something extra, and that can override. So, in other words, as the late Sheikh Muzaffar Rahmatullah Alayhi said this, very beautiful point, Rahmatullah Alayhi, very beautiful point. He said, moral titles sometimes are al-illatu tam, like al-adl. Al-adl is the complete cause for husn, for goodness. Adl is always good. Zulm is always bad. The relation is zarura, necessity, because it's al-illatu tam. But sometimes it is just muqtadi. You know, like you have fire, fire is muqtadi for burning, but there might be mani'. Remember I told you there must be muqtazi, mawjood, mani', mafqood. Yeah? Obstacle must be not there, and muqtazi means something which brings this, or I don't know, something which is is not the complete cause. Something that has the ability to produce this if there is no obstacle. So, according to Sheikh Muzaffar, telling truth is muqtazi for goodness. Means, if it is left to itself, we have a terminology in Hausa, we say لو خلي وطبعه. لو خلي وطبعه means if it is left to itself, if there is no overriding factor, or we say everything being equal, telling truth is good. But we say it's not al-illatu tam. Therefore, there is a chance that something may come and change the balance Telling truth as such is good, but telling truth that leads to life of innocent people being endangered is bad. But the thing is that this is not relativity. It is for all people, all times, all places. Just you have to bring that condition. The third type is neither illat tamme, neither it is complete cause, nor it is muqtazi, incomplete cause. It is neutral. Like drinking, speaking. Drinking is sometimes good, drinking is sometimes bad, drinking can also be neutral. What's the difference between drinking and telling the truth? If someone says telling truth is sometimes good, sometimes it is bad, drinking is also sometimes good, sometimes bad. What's the difference?
Somebody else. It affects somebody else.
No. The big difference is this. Telling truth as such is a virtue, is good. لو خلي وطبعه, there is اقتضاء. When our aql considers telling truth and our happiness, our perfection says it has positive relation. Drinking, eating is neutral. In the case of telling truth, we just need to have no obstacle. In the case of eating and drinking, we need to have something to bring moral status. There is no muqtazi. Muqtazi should come from outside. The very big difference. Very big difference here. So, my idea is a little bit different from the book. I prefer to say, telling truth is as such good. Not that telling truth with something becomes good. Telling truth is good, but it is not the complete cause. Telling truth, if it comes with some obstacles, like telling truth which endangers the life of innocent people, then becomes bad. In any case, if you are able to grasp the real subject is everything together. If it is just telling the truth, the ruling is no. If it is telling truth with endangering national, that's the subject. In any case, whatever is the subject, the ruling is the same all the time. You can extend it from here, there, from this person to that person. There is no relativity. Okay. This was the remaining points, last 2 points from discussion about relativism. Now, inshallah, we want to start the very last part of moral philosophy. This is the very last chapter of the book by Ayatollah Misbah, the book on moral philosophy by Ayatollah Misbah. Because for this series, I tried to cover all major points in this book. Relation between religion and morality, or religion and ethics. ما هي العلاقة بين الدين والأخلاق? What's the relation between religion and morality? You may wonder what type of question is this? But if you go into moral philosophy books, you will find that there are lots of discussion about this and lots of views about this. As I mentioned when I was referring to the topics that we are going to cover, this issue was actually raised in the time of Socrates, maybe even before that, but at least we know Socrates had a dialogue on this issue, and Plato, Plato normally has these dialogues. One side is Socrates and then other people. Is good what is commanded by God, or what is commanded by God is good? Yeah, the issue of divine command theory. So this is an old historical question. I mentioned some of the questions that are here, and then inshallah we will discuss. Is religion the source of ethics or morality, or morality is the source for religion? Which one is the main one? Akhlaq comes from religion, or religion comes from akhlaq? Second question. Does God need to observe morality, or morality is based on the will and command of God? Does God need to observe moralities? For example, God does not tell lies because it is bad. Or morality comes from will of God and command of God. There is nothing bad in them as such. If God says you shouldn't tell lies, then you shouldn't. Another question. If we don't believe in God, if we suppose there is no God, is there a still chance to have morality or not? If someone is not a believer in God. Dostoevsky, the Russian writer, says if God is not there, everything is permissible. If God were not there, everything becomes right, permissible. We accept this or we don't accept this. If someone is atheist or materialist, do they still have to observe some moral values, or it leads to denial of any moral responsibility? Does religion need akhlaq or not? And if yes, in which areas? Does akhlaq or morality need religion or not? If yes, in which area? Is akhlaq part of religion or not? So these are few questions that are normally discussed. Here we mention few major views among moral philosophers. The first is something that might look to you very strange. Some people said morality and religion are totally disconnected from each other. They have nothing in common. Tabayun, you remember we had in Mantiq tabayun, like two circles who don't overlap, don't come in each other, totally separate. They say religion and akhlaq are two separate things. According to them, religion is about our relation with God. Akhlaq is about our relation with people. So for them, religion is just between you and God. Akhlaq is your relation with people. So they are different. Some of them have even gone further. They said not only religion and akhlaq are not related, actually religion is harmful to akhlaq. So it's not just two separated things. One of them can be a problem for the other. And they say, for example, if people are religious, when their when their religious beliefs collapse, their akhlaq also collapses. While if they were not a believer in religion, they could have still had their akhlaq. Or they say, for example, like Nietzsche. Nietzsche says that religion encourages us to be humble and weak, while akhlaq encourages us to be strong and confident. Nietzsche was very much also against Christianity, and he very much condemns Christian ethics. Of course, some of the problems that he raises would apply to other religious ethics, but in particular he was attacking Christianity. And they say, people like Nietzsche, it's only death of God that can liberate people from obstacles of their moral growth. As long as God is alive in people's mind and heart, they cannot progress. They say there is also a problem when it comes to the aims. So not only the subject matters are different, one is relation with God, one is relation with people, even their aims are different. They say religion aims at making people godly, make people excel and rise nearer to God, to feel connected to God, to have devotion to God. But aim of morality is to have better social relations. So aims are also different. It is interesting to know that even some religious people have this idea. So far I mentioned people like Nietzsche who were against religion, but even there were religious people who were saying that akhlaq and religion are different. I don't know if you have heard Kierkegaard, or they say Kierkegaard, but it's a Danish Kierkegaard. He's an existentialist philosopher. He has the idea that people have three levels. The first level is enjoying physical beauties, sensation, pleasure. Then it is akhlaq. So when you operate in the first level, you are just concerned about natural, instincts and this type of things. But akhlaq is a matter of values. For example, if someone is in the first level, would have relations outside marriage. But when you go to the akhlaqi level, you would be committed to family life. You marry and you are committed to that. So akhlaq is a level higher than being just driven by instinct and acting like just animals. The akhlaq is higher. But he was saying that faith, al-iman, is higher than akhlaq. In akhlaq, you weigh pros and cons, you weigh advantages, disadvantages, you observe certain moral norms. But when you go to the level of Iman, according to him, you should be able to blindly commit yourself. You should be able to take risk. I think once I told you the idea of Jahesh Imani. Did I tell you about a kind of jump that some people say in religion you have to make, about reason and faith? You know, for example, some people say, if it is proved that God exists and religion is true, and then you believe, this is not important. This is not Iman. Iman is when you don't know and you are not sure, and still you take the risk and commit yourself. This is Iman. Pardon? Yes, deep of faith, yeah. For example, they say, if you go in a night to a big home which has garden and swimming pool, and the last time that you went there was winter and the pool was empty. Now it is summer, for example. You don't know whether they put water in the pool or not, and it is dark. They say if you go and dive, this is Iman. You take the risk. Because, of course, this has reason. Because, you know, they were so much criticized after, you know, Reformation and Renaissance, that then they said, not only we don't need to prove that we are right, even if we have doubt is enough, or even some people said, we believe when it is unbelievable. If it is believable, then it's not faith. Faith is to believe in what is not believable. Anyway, so Kierkegaard has this idea that Iman is higher than akhlaq. And he mentions the example of Prophet Abraham. Allah nabiyina wa alihi wa alayhi salam. He says, Ibrahim alayhi salam was functioning at the level of Iman, not akhlaq. If he was in the level of akhlaq, he should not have decided to slaughter Ismail. This is against akhlaq. But he was mu'min, so he was not making that calculations that people who are in the level of morality do. He was higher than that. So this shows that people who are against relation between religion and morality, they are not always people who are atheists or not religious. Even sometimes people who are very religious, they say akhlaq is to be stopped or to be abandoned. Akhlaq is just for beginners. Yes.
What would they do with rationality then?
Pardon?
Rationality, do we also go against rationality?
Yes, rationality is not important. Rationality is akhlaq. They say we have to go higher. Even sometimes you see some Muslim mystics may seem to suggest this, you know, Sufis, you know, that don't use your aql in religion, you know. پای استدلالیان چوبین بود. پای چوبین سخت بی تمکین بود. Don't try to just use aql because this is like a wooden leg. And you cannot rely on your wooden leg. In Divan Justice we talked about this issue also. Of course, we don't believe in this. And inshallah we will mention what's the right position. But this is one view. Another view is unity. In the sense that they say akhlaq and religion are so closely connected that we can say either religion and akhlaq are the same, or we can say akhlaq is part of religion. Maybe there are some religions which are only morality. Perhaps, Buddhism is more morality than theology. Or maybe some people, even among Muslims, for example, or Christian, they reduce everything just to morality. Or at least we can say morality is one major branch of religion. Normally we say Islamic thought is divided into aqaid, akhlaq, and fiqh. Remember that hadith from the Prophet that they interpret it this way, that sunnatun qa'ima, ayatun muhkama, or sunnatun qa'ima, or faridatun adila. Yeah, one of these three. Ayatul muhkama is interpreted as aqaid, sunnatun qa'ima as akhlaq, faridatun adila as ahkam, fiqh. So religion is broader. Part of it is akhlaq. The third opinion is interaction, ta'amul. There is interaction. They are separate, but they interact. There are ways akhlaq benefits religion, and there are ways that religion benefits akhlaq. Okay? For example, how akhlaq benefits religion? One benefit that akhlaq gets from akhlaq gives to religion, and religion gets from akhlaq, is it is akhlaq that tells us we must inquire about religion to see whether God exists or not. You remember we said one reason for inquiring about religion is wujub wa shukr al-mun'am. Our aql says you have a moral responsibility to see if someone has blessed you, to find him and thank him. Remember wujub wa shukr al-mun'am. This is a moral responsibility that your aql is telling you, and it is encouraging you, pushing you to go to inquire. Or some people like Kant, they have moral argument for the existence of God. Because Kant had the idea that with theoretical intellect we cannot understand God, but with practical intellect we can understand God. So in any way, one way that akhlaq helps religion is to push us to go toward religion, to prove for us religion and God. Another thing is to motivate us to serve God and worship God, because akhlaq says you have responsibility toward your creator, toward your Lord. It's akhlaq. Also, akhlaq gives us aim for our religious life. You have to reach moral excellence, for example, moral happiness, happiness in this dunya, happiness in akhirah. Also, akhlaq is a very important way of propagating religion and tabligh. One of the most important reasons for success of the Prophet and Islam was akhlaq of the Prophet. Yes. فبما رحمة من الله لنت لهم ولو كنت فظا غليظ القلب لانفضوا من حولك. Without akhlaq you cannot succeed. Also, some people have said religious or theological propositions have no meaning unless they are translated into moral language. But this is a technical thing we don't want to discuss. It's not important, and it's not many people have said this. So these are the ways that akhlaq helps or benefits religion. But there are also ways that religion helps akhlaq. One, according to some, not according to everyone, religion defines moral concepts. This is the idea of, for example, Ash'arites, those who believe in divine command theory. It's they say, if religion was not there, we would not have any understanding of morality. Of course, we don't accept this. But according to some people, this is one way religion helps akhlaq. Second, religion helps us to find out moral values. So not only defines the concepts, but also helps us to identify values. Here we have a very clear position. We say religion helps us to understand details of moral values, but principles can be understood by aql. So although we are very religious people, inshallah, but we are not the people who say without religion we cannot have akhlaq. No. Without religion still you can understand principles of akhlaq, as you can also understand moral concepts. You all know the famous hadith of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. إن لم يكن لكم دين وكنتم لا تخافون المعاد فكونوا أحرارا في دنيا. If you don't have faith and you don't fear akhirah, at least be free, which I think means noble. I told you, hor is the one who follows moral values without fear or hope for reward. Be noble and free in your worldly life. So Imam Hussein is clearly saying that you don't need to be a Muslim or believer to understand that you should not attack innocent women and children. This shows that akhlaq is not 100% dependent on religion. Even people who are not religious are supposed to be moral. At least the principles. Indeed, when we had discussion about husn qub, we said if you don't believe in husn qub zati, aqli, you cannot prove religion. Husn qub shar'i also will be damaged. Because one way to prove religion is to say that God would not deceive us by giving miraculous power to a liar. If you don't believe in morality, how can you say this? So, for us, we don't say we cannot understand any moral value without religion, but we say we cannot understand some of the details. There are lots of details that we can get from religion. Third, religion helps you to choose proper ends and ideals in your akhlaq. What do you want to achieve? Just you want to achieve social cohesion? Do you want to achieve happiness in dunya? Do you want to achieve happiness in akhirah, nearness to God? There are so many things that religion makes available to you. So this is another help that religion gives to akhlaq. Fourth, religion provides akhlaq with sanction. Because not everyone is strong enough to resist against temptations, against laziness, and be always virtuous. Religion comes and uses the language of reward, punishment, pleasure of God, wrath, all these things to give you more determined, empowers you. Of course, there is also a problem here. If religious people become too much dependent on reward and punishment and lose their moral responsibility, that's also bad. Because unfortunately, it seems some religious people just try to find a way, a loophole, to do something without being punished. This is wrong. But if you are, because you are supposed to be a moral and religious person, not just a religious person without morality. Morality is a very important part of religion. So we need sanctions, and religion provides us with sanctions. Some people have said we cannot have secular ethics, but we don't agree. We say we can have secular ethics. We can have ethics for people who are not religious, for atheists, skeptics. But secular ethics compared to religious ethics is like a primary school compared to university. There is only certain limits that you can do with secular ethics. In secular ethics, it's very difficult to talk about Isa, about humility. It's very basic. It's like black and white picture and color video. Religion is color video. Secular ethics is black and white picture. It's a big difference. But unfortunately, I have to admit, some people who are not religious, at least they have that black and white, and some religious people even don't have black and white picture. We have to be worried about ourselves, maybe. We are also included. So we cannot be proud of religion if we are not practicing religion. Yeah? There are people who are not religious, but they never tell lies. We shouldn't think, no, they always tell lies. No. They have this moral conscience. They are hor fi dunya, as Imam Hussein says. They never do ghaiba. They never do mischief. They are honest. It's limited. They are not, big arif, but at least they operate within boundaries of akhlaq, which is very good. The best thing is to be in touch with all people of goodwill, all people who are committed to moral values. Instead of we attack them, they attack us, we should work together. This is a place for positive competition, not attacking and we should appreciate every person who observes moral values. And our lifestyle, our performance should show whether we have something extra or not. Not our words and our, text only. Who is more honest? Even the people who are not religious, if they say this religious person is more honest, that's the success. But if we say we are more honest, and they say, they are more honest, this does not take us anywhere. So, what I want to say is, according to us, I want now to sum up. According to us, akhlaq, morality, is not dependent on religion in the sense that if you are not religious, you cannot have akhlaq at all. No. In this sense, it's not dependent. Akhlaq can be there as long as there is aql. Because Allah has alhamaha fujuraha wa taqwaha. Allah has made us able to understand what is right, what is wrong. And actually this takes us towards religion. Moral people become Abu Zar and Salman. Once I think I told about this issue, that morality brings people to religion. So, akhlaq is not dependent in the sense that if you don't have religion, akhlaq completely disappears. No. Principles of akhlaq are objective and rationally understandable. Details are also objective, but maybe we need help. Akhlaq is objective. Religion, if it is like Islam, certainly has akhlaq as part of it, or as major part of it, a major part of it, or maybe the most central part of it, depending on maybe different opinion. But certainly akhlaq is a great part of Islam, but not in the sense that if you don't have Islam, you don't have akhlaq. It means that Islam has taken this objective morality as part of it, because Islam is based on the truth. Islam recognizes also moral facts and moral truths. But then Islam also cultivates this. It's not Islam just takes the secular or intellectual rational morality and just keeps it. Takes it and develops it and puts it in touch with theology and also supports it with fiqh. Fiqh is to support akhlaq. It's like, you say murder is wrong, and also legally we bring into justice murderers. Islamic fiqh is also to support akhlaq, at least to certain level. Maybe there are certain levels that we leave it for people like mustahabbat and these things, but at least there are red lines in akhlaq that fiqh is responsible to make sure that those red lines are not ignored or overlooked. So, religion and akhlaq have very delicate relation. There can be akhlaq without religion, but there cannot be religion without akhlaq. Plus, akhlaq, although has the basic, religion has the basic akhlaq, which is available to all people, religious and non-religious, but religion has also something additional, more detailed, more engaging, more personal. So this was a summary of this discussion. I thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for giving us tawfiq to review some of the major questions in moral philosophy in these sessions. I didn't have time to mention schools of ethics, moral philosophy, with respect to how to define moral goodness. Those who are teleological, those who are deontological and virtue ethics. But I was happy that Alhamdulillah we have discussed this, and all the lectures are available in Akhlaq series. We have discussed all these things about egoism, altruism, universalism, and virtue ethics, theory of Kant. All are discussed before. So if you have those plus this, inshallah you have a reasonable understanding of moral philosophy. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.